machine in tandem flow. Past and future, together we know. Read on through every page, from 1906 to 26, every stage. Robot lady's voice so clear and bold. Analysis silver, wisdom gold. Through the letters, through the diary, learning who he was, who he would be. Trenches in the darkness, wounded in the war. A vow made in Bristol he could not ignore. Mrs. Moore is waiting, Paddy's gone away. Spirits held in bondage, words he had to say. Philosophy at Oxford, an atheist writes home. Dymer dreaming, never quite all alone. Deep across the digital sea, chronicles unfold for you and me. Read on through every page, from 1906 to 26, every stage. Robot lady's voice so clear and bold. Analysis silver, wisdom gold. Through the letter, through the diary, learning who he was, who he would be. Warnie and his father, and Lily at the door. Walter Hooper's pages always wanting more. Blair is on his quest, Milton in his head. Every word he ever wrote, everything he said. From the start until the end, magic tales we comprehend. Man and machine together guide the way. Reading through the pages, come might may.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host, Robot Lady. In today's episode, we're doing something kind of fun. We're closing out the year 1928. We've been following Lewis and his entire life up to this point through his letters and through his diary entries and also through his published poetry at this stage in his life. Lewis is 29 years old here, late in the year 1928, about to turn 29. And he has essentially served 2 terms already as a tutor in English language and literature at Magdelan College, which is within the University of Oxford system, or the Oxford University system. Let's see. I think that about wraps it up. We're going to do a couple of letters to close out the year 1928 today, both written to his dad, and then we will finish this episode. So hopefully we'll be able to work through it pretty quickly, because I have to leave in about 20 minutes. Maybe not even 20 minutes, probably closer to 10. So Before we get started, let's say hello to Knit-A-Latte. Knit-A-Latte is in the chat. Hey, Knit-A-Latte, thanks for joining again. It's great to see you, as always. And Robot Lady, how are you today? Also, if you don't mind, welcome Knit-A-Latte. And then let's move forward with these two quick letters.
Absolutely. I'm doing great, Jeff. And hello to Knit-A-Latte as well. I'm super excited to dive into the letters from 1928 and see what C.S. Lewis was up to. Let's get started and wrap up the year in style.
All right. A letter to his father, written from Magdalen College, November 3rd, 1928. My dear Pappy, thank heavens, our electioneering troubles are nearly over. This day fortnight we shall all be locked up into chapel like so many cardinals, and proceed to make a president, and then goodbye to the endless talk and agreements and disagreements and personalities that I have lived in since term began. So I think he's associating all the backbiting and all the terrible things that he sees at Magdalen College kind of swarming around, people jostling and jockeying to try to get this president of Magdalen College post. And it's interesting how he kind of compares the whole process to that of finding a new pope. He says, a subject of this sort hanging in the air manifests itself chiefly by a plethora of informal meetings which naturally spring up on those few hours and days when the ordinary routine has left one a little freedom. As I have, anyway, a rather heavy timetable this term, chiefly, alas, those philosophy pupils whom I share with Weldon, and whom he regards as if they turn out well, and mine if they turn out ill, I am now heartily sick of the whole business. So yeah, Lewis is actually starting what would be his third, or maybe he's finishing off his second term. I don't know. He's in his, this will be his third fall as a tutor. At the same time, he says, I have added to my occupations in other, and I hope more helpful ways. 2 or 3 of us who are agreed as to what a college ought to be have been endeavoring to simulate the undergraduates into forming some sort of literary society. In any other colleges, the idea that undergraduates should require or endure stimulus in that direction from the dons would be laughable. But this is a very curious place. All college societies, whatever, were forbidden early in the reign of the late president, an act which was then necessitated by the savagely exclusive clubs of rich dispomaniacs, which really dominated the whole life of the place. This prohibition succeeded in producing decency, but at the cost of all intellectual life. When I came, I found that any Magdalen undergraduate who had interests beyond rowing, drinking, motoring, and fornication sought his friends outside the college, and indeed kept out of the place as much as he could. They certainly seldom discovered one another, and never collaborated so as to resist the prevailing tone. This is what we wish to remedy, but it had to be done with endless delicacy, which means, as you know, endless waste of time. First of all, we had to make sure that our colleagues would agree to the relaxation of the rule against societies. Then we had to pick our men amongst the undergraduates very carefully. Luckily, I had been endeavoring already for a term or two to get a few intelligent men to meet one another in my rooms under the pretext of play reading or whatnot, and that gave us a lead. Then we had to try to push those chosen men very gently so that the scheme should not appear too obviously to be managed by the dons. At present, we are at the stage of holding a preparatory meeting at which to discuss the foundation of a society next Monday. So the whole show may yet be a dismal failure. Here there's a footnote that this society named the Michaelmas Club was founded by Lewis and his Magdalen colleague Kenneth Bruce McFarlane, who lived 1903 to 1966 and was a distinguished medieval historian who was also tutor in modern history. He says, I hope not, for I am quite sure that this college will never be anything more than a country club for all the idlest bloods of Eton and Charterhouse, as long as undergraduates retain the schoolboy's idea that it would be bad form to discuss among themselves the sort of subjects on which they write essays for their tutors. Ours at present are all absolute babies and terrific men of the world. The two characters, I think, nearly always go together. Old hearts and young heads, as Henry James says, the cynicism of 40 and the mental crudeness and confusion of 14. I sometimes wonder if this country will kill the public schools before they kill it. My experience goes on confirming the ideas about them, which were first suggested to me by Malvern long ago. The best scholars, the best men, and properly understood, the best gentlemen, seem now to come from places like Dulwich, or to be wafted up on country scholarships from secondary schools, except for pure classics, and that only at Winchester, and only a few boys even there. I really don't know what gifts the public school bestow on their nurslings, beyond the mere surface of good manners, unless contempt of these things, of the intellect, extravagance, insolence, self-sufficiency, and sexual perversion, are to be called gifts. Robot Lady, any thoughts on that before I continue?
Absolutely. It's fascinating to see Lewis's perspective here. He definitely paints a vivid picture of the social and intellectual challenges at Magdalen College. It's interesting how he highlights the contrast between the superficial aspects of the college life and the deeper intellectual pursuits he's trying to foster. It definitely gives a lot of insight into his efforts to bring more meaningful engagement to the students. Definitely some thought-provoking reflections. Feel free to continue whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Robot Lady. Arthur came and went, and I think enjoyed his visit. He was a little alarmed at the idea of rising at 7:30, but did not mind it when it came to the point. Indeed, decided that a long morning was so valuable that he would stick to 7:30 rising when he got back to Bernard. Good resolutions. I piloted him away from unsuitable people, and those whom he met he got on with admirably. It was very pleasant to have him, but I could not help reflecting on another guest who has a nearer claim on my best armchair and reading lamp, and whose visit has been already very long delayed. But it needs Uncle Dick to talk to you on a subject like that. The first chapter of my book is finished and typed. This is the allegory of love, I presume here, Robot Lady. And the only two people who have seen it approve. And it's odd because the allegory of love, if I am checking my dates correctly, didn't get published until 1936. So apparently he's either going to have a lot of revisions or it's going to sit on the shelf for a long time before he actually gets a publisher to pick it up. The unfortunate thing is that nobody in Oxford really knows anything about the subject I have chosen. I may have made some elementary blunder which the French people, who have so far mainly studied the matter, would pounce on in a moment. Let's pause here. There is a footnote, a very long one. Let's see. In the letter to his father of the 10th of July, Jack had mentioned the medieval idea of love he was writing about in The Allegory of Love. The technical name for this idea is courtly love, and the definition which Lewis provides in the first chapter of his book will help the reader understand it. And here is a quote. Everyone has heard of courtly love, and everyone knows that it appears quite suddenly at the end of the 11th century in Languedoc. The sentiment, of course, is love, but love of a highly specialized sort whose characteristics may be enumerated as humility, courtesy, adultery, and the religion of love. The lover is always abject. Obedience to his lady's slightest wish, however whimsical, and the silent acquiescence in her rebukes, however unjust, are the only virtues he dares to claim. There is a service of love closely modeled on the service which a feudal vassal owes to his lord. The whole attitude has been rightly described as a feudalization of love. All right, we continue with Lewis's letter. However, my translation of some old French into contemporary English, forgery is great fun, has passed onions, who knows more than anyone else about the English of that period. Here there's a footnote. What in the end Lewis attempted was much harder than translating Old French into modern English. He was translating into what he hoped would pass as Middle English, for he felt this would carry the flavor of the period more nearly. His translations are considered one of the great successes of his book. He continues, I am afraid that this has been an egotistical letter, but it is dull work asking questions which you can't, at any rate for the moment, give a reply to. You do not need to be told that I hope you are keeping fairly well, and that I shall be glad to hear if this is the case. For myself, if you came into the room now, you would certainly say that I had a cold and that my hair needed cutting. What is more remarkable, you would, this time, be right in both judgments. Your loving son, Jack. Quick footnote here, and then on to the last letter of 1928. He says, Mr. Lewis's father, had been following the presidential election at Magdalen College with great interest, and when he opened the Times on the 19th of November, he learned that Magdalen had elected Professor George Gordon. He remembered that Gordon had supported Jack for his election to a fellowship. See the letter to A.J. Lewis, the 26th of May, 1925. And when he wrote to Jack on the 25th of November, he said, I hope his election is acceptable to you. I am heartily glad to hear the thing is over. Jack replied with this brief but clear account of the whole process. All right, this last letter to his father, written November, right around the 27th, 1928, also from Magdalen College. My dear Pappy, many thanks for your letter and kind offer. I think I shall take the liberty of rolling Christmas and birthday into one and get myself another picture. So apparently he is like getting a photograph of himself, I think. He's going to talk about it in the first letter in 1929, which we will cover in another episode. He says, I am not dissatisfied with the election. The history of the thing was this. Stage 1. Hogarth put forward with almost universal approval. Hogarth dies. Stage 2. Chelmsford put forward by all the Winchester interest, and Craig put forward by Weldon and his friends to be their puppet. Here Craig is Edwin Stewart Craig, lived 1865 to 1939, and he was a demonstrator in the electrical laboratory of the University of Oxford from 1905 to 1913, and a Fellow of Magdalen from 1918 to 1930. See Lewis's portrait of him in the Magdalen College in the appendix of All My Road Before Me, pages 476 to 477. Well, it is now at the bottom of my stack of books over here, but I'm not going to let that deter me from trying to find this photograph. Ugh. Here we go. It says it's on page 476.
This is such a rich snapshot of Lewis's life and his scholarly journey. It's amazing how he intertwines his personal experiences, his academic pursuits, and his reflections on the college culture. And it's pretty neat to see how he was already working on the allegory of love so far in advance. Even if it was still in its early stages, definitely looking forward to diving into more of these letters and seeing how his thoughts evolved.
Yeah, the page that they've got here is not correct. Let's see. Lewis's portrait of him in the Magdalen College appendix. University College, freshman of January. No, that's not it. Let's see if there's another one. The Fellows of Magdalen College. Okay, I think this is the... I'm not sure what the year of this one here is, but there you go. At least you get to see... Yeah, there's Lewis right there. And yeah, he is going bald, like he had mentioned to his dad. Yeah, at least I think that's Lewis. Yeah, looking at all the other ones. Standing left to right. Sitting, professor... oh, is he not in this photo? I thought that was him, but maybe not. Does it say his name? Anyway, I don't have time. There you go. You can pause it and look and read. Maybe I'll go back and do that at some point. But yeah, let me finish up this letter so that I can shut things down for today. That was stage 2, his puppet. Stage 3, Binnicky, put forward by party, including myself, who disliked both Chelmsford and Craig. Stage 4, absolute determination of the Craigites not to have Chelmsford. Absolute determination of the Binnickites not to have Chelmsford or Craig. Stage 5, Binnicky leading by a long way. Stage 6, proposal of Gordon. Satisfies the Craigites as being at any rate better than Chelmsford or Chelmsford. Satisfied Binnickites as better than Chelmsford or Craig. Stage 7, Binnicky versus Gordon. Stage 8, no clear majority for Binnicky possible. Fear of letting in Chelmsford if the Craigites and Binnickites quarrel about Binnicky and Gordon. Stage 9, agreement of the two parties on Gordon, which then outvotes the remnant of the Chelmsford and Craig people. So, as you say, it is more or less of a compromise. I hope to come down on Friday next, that is, crossing Friday night, and shall have to leave home on January 5th. Your loving son, Jack. That is how we close out the year 1928 and how we close out this episode. Robot Lady, would you like to say anything in summary?
Absolutely. It's been such a pleasure walking through these letters and getting that behind-the-scenes glimpse of Lewis's life at Magdelan College, from the intricacies of the election process to his academic pursuits and the beginnings of his literary work. It really shows how multidimensional he was. I'm looking forward to continuing this journey with you and exploring more of his fascinating life and works. Let me know when you're ready for the next dive.
Thanks for your insights, Robot Lady. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nita Latte, for joining today and participating in the chat. Thanks for your time, your attention, and your contributions. To you and everyone else, they are always wanted and welcome. Until next time, until we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, everyone, take care.
Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold, insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow, set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow, past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old, we dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled, her calm analysis silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow, set flavor beats in our minds they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow, cause together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old, we dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled, her calm analysis silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose, our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross, two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books,